I just hear you going, "Hey man, I got the meat sweats here.
That's right.
How you doing?
That's
How
right.
you doing?" And I look over at you, and you're wiping your brow, and you're wiping your face, and I'm like, "Me too."
Same.
Same.
Right.
At the beginning of opening of Zing Zang Zoom, you would play the national anthem. So I'd run up on the float. I had this pyro gun, and I'd shoot this comet, and this comet would go to the center ring, and we had all the pyro on the stage. It was the most
Right.
exciting opening. I was like,
Right. It was
I
great.
loved that opening because
Right.
right away, so cool. Well, that's how it was supposed to happen.
Right.
It was going to be amazing. And then, for whatever reason, this particular show, and you're on my left. You're on my left.
Right. Yep.
I pick up the pyro gun, and I fumbled it because I'm giving lines and I'm like doing it, and I kind of just I don't look. I just pick it up and shoot it. Well, this day I was like, and I hit the button, and the comet goes sailing towards the bandstand.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Right at us. Yep.
Right at you guys.
Right at us.
And those comets, the way they work, right? Once they're on fire, they burn out. So the distance is determined how fast they burn. So like the longer the comet, it means it's going to burn 15 seconds or 10 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever it is. And that determines how far it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this comet, so it's a disk, is on fire, and it hits the ground right in front of the bandstand. And you had this little wall that's like 3 feet high.
Right.
And it bounces off the ground, ricochets, hits the wall, flies like literally over your, like right over your head up. And you're like, you know, giving them the cues. And all of a sudden I see you go, and the whole band, and I'm just looking at you, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I just shot pyro at you. Oh my gosh.
The band's not really there for when everything's perfect. The band's there for when things aren't perfect. And in live entertainment, there's something every show that's just a little bit different. And that's why you need that band.
That was intentional, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, job security, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was fun. Now every show, well, okay, so I had to wear an in-ear monitor.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. So I had 3 packs. I had 2 mics, and I had my in-ears. And the in-ears were allowed you to talk to me. And there was about 4 people at certain times that could. It would be you, number 1. Then Monitor World in the back could say something to me. Then front of house, which for most of our tour was Danny, could say something to me.
Right.
And then they got a set of another like wireless mic that would patch into my ears from house for production manager. So at certain points, there was 4 different people that could talk in my ear. Now, of course, I can't say anything back.
That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. I can't say anything back because I'm on mic and I'm in front of people. Right. So it made for some really interesting times. And I have pride, and I pride myself on the fact that I never broke. Like I never missed a line. I just always hit it, and you would say things to me, and you're like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And I'm like, no, I'm professional. I'm going to do this. Right. And one time, do you remember what it was?
I don't remember, but I'm sure that I will. Okay.
No, you'll remember as soon as I say it. So again, at the beginning of the show. So during the show, you would say little jokes to me or say things, and I might smile, and I'd look at you after my mic was mute, and I'd say, Brett, you know, and you're just laughing, having a good time. Because the whole audience has no idea what you're saying to me, and I have to do my lines. So this time my mom was visiting on tour. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My mom was visiting on tour, and you had known her, and, you know, this is probably year 2 or something. And like maybe before the show earlier that day, my mom, because she's like me, she's like curious, and she's like, can I sit in the bandstand? Like, I want to sit there right in the action. And you were like, so I said, oh, let's ask Brett. And you're like, yeah, that's no problem. Like, I'll work it through. Really nice about it, of course. And I didn't think anything of it. So the very next show, so it was like the show before she was going to sit in the bandstand. I get up at the very beginning of the show. My ears are in. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. And perfect. I see you at the mic and you turn around to the band. You go, all right, boys. So Alex's mom is going to sit with us tomorrow, like next show. And like just the way that you said it and the whole, like the band knew, because the band could hear you talk to me too.
Yeah.
So they knew that you would mess with me. And it was like this, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And just the way that you said it. So Alex's mom is going to sit with us. And I was like, and all of you, you got me. I completely flubbed my line. And the whole band goes, yeah!
They finally got you to break, right?
And I was like, oh, man. And that was the one time. Another war stories, whenever I think of tour with you, was our Sunday evening after loadout, lunch and dinner, and hitting the spots all over the country. Because you have that book.
Yeah. I had the diners, drive-ins, and dives, or something like that. Yeah. When I would try to find one every place. I remember we found one up in Seattle or Spokane or wherever it was. The Bobby's Hawaiian place. It was so good.
Best.
So good.
Best. I have the one that I remember because it was fun. It was funny. Now, I mean, I'm a little bigger than I was on tour, but when I was on tour, I was 23, $140. I mean, I was little. I was a small guy. And
but man, you could crush. You could eat whatever I could eat.
Yeah.
I weighed twice what you did. It was unbelievable.
And so we went to Moochie's in Salt Lake City.
That's right. Oh my God, I love that place.
Whenever I would go back to Salt Lake City, or I'd meet someone from Salt Lake City, I'd always go, I know Salt Lake City. They go, yeah. I go, yeah, Moochie's. And they're like, what? You know Moochie's? So we went in between shows. I think it might have been a split day. I think it was a split day because we had like a morning show, and you're like, hey, let's go to Moochie's. And they do subs there. I was like, yeah, I'm down. So we would always go to every city we'd go to a different place to eat. So we went, and I'm like, and I'd usually just get whatever you got, right? And so you got this meatball sub. And we're doing meatball subs. So doing meatball subs. And towards the end of this sub, I mean, I could down anything because I was running around anyways, but you kind of were finishing it off, and the last few bites, you're like, oh man, this is rough. And usually nothing really bothers me. And I was like, this is a little rough, like eating this whole.
I might be in trouble here, right?
So then we have a show that night, and you in my ears as we're doing the show, and I'm like running around doing my lines. I just hear you going, hey man, I got the meat sweats here.
That's right.
How you doing? How you doing? And I look over at you, and you're wiping your brow, and you're wiping your face, and I'm like, me too.
Same. Right. One time we lost the front of house console, so there was no sound at all.
Wow.
So like,
did you guys keep going, or I mean, you guys have to all stop, right? And you just kind of have to hold until.
We played. We kept playing. We could hear each other. The monitor console hadn't gone out. It was actually in Louisville, and it was on April Fool's Day. And we're playing, and it stopped. We couldn't hear it in the house. We could hear it in our ears, so we could hear each other. I could talk to them. They could, but the performers were then having to. It was really kind of cool because the performers were having to work with no music.
Right.
And so they were working strictly on audience feedback, and some of them were really good and some of them were not. But like, I remember the Aguiar brothers were great. The Highwire kids were great.
Yeah. Those acts would, I think, excel in certain things. But I mean, with that, like high wire, if they know how to work the audience, you don't need music. It's just terrifying in and of itself, right? And you can get those thrills almost with any thrill act. You know what I mean? You can really work off of that.
The music can help it a lot, but it's not really. I mean, we can put a build under something to kind of increase the tension here or there, but the act itself provides the real moment.
Right. But yeah, I mean, every show when something goes, I mean, those are the things that, I remember with you, there was times where I think we did lose power. I think we're at George Mason in Fairfax.
Oh yeah, always crash there. Yeah,
right?
Always. Yeah,
And I
little
remember
bitty building. They couldn't handle our power, and I think the year after that and subsequent years, we had a backup generator on site.
because I remember when it happened, and like people who had been on tour there before, it was just like, oh yeah, it always happens here. And I'm like, but if we knew that going in,
Right.
why?
Every year they thought they had it fixed and figured out, and it didn't actually get figured out until they brought in a backup generator, because it was a little tiny building, little bitty thing.
Oh, it's at a college. It was at George Mason University. That's actually where Larry the Cable Guy was. That's when he came to film on our show. Larry the Cable Guy.
That guy there are, well, I guess there's 3 people I know that can play a trumpet without the mouthpiece. My son Barrett can actually do it. It's insane. This amazing trumpet player that I knew back in Oklahoma City named Larry Skinner could do it, and Larry the Cable Guy can play a trumpet without a mouthpiece.
What?
Serious. I was walking around backstage. I had my horn, but I didn't have my mouthpiece in it. And he was, still in his character. And he was like, man, I'd like to come to sit down on the bandstand with you guys. I'd have way more fun down there than I would in the seats. And so he picked up my horn and he started playing it without a mouthpiece. And I was like, is everybody in the world a better trumpet player than I am? This is
Even Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy. So like his big deal was he was going to run out with the shovel and pick up after the elephant.
Right.
And it was one of the few shows I can remember where they didn't, make anything for him to shovel up. And he was there for one show, and it didn't happen. And I was like, what are the odds? But he's a nice guy, really smart.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember the time that I spent with him, and we did the Assistant's Revenge. So at the end of the routine, he's all locked up. And then I'm like, I would get out, and he was all locked up. And I said, hey, thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Have a great day. And I walked out, and like the last scene, he was like, Alex, this ain't funny, man. You need to get me out of here. And like, I'm just dying. They, what they do is they just roll. They roll because they're trying to get anything that's coming out of him. And he's just going on for like 30 seconds of just saying all these things.
He's giving them what they wanted, right?
Yeah. And I mean, afterwards, when they say cut, everybody laughs,
Hey, perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. So that was a good one. You remember when I think we were in Jacksonville, and there was a guy backstage that hit one of the
water main over
water.
It was raining backstage like crazy. It was on a Sunday too, so there was no. I mean, there's no good time to hit a water main, but on Sunday it was really bad because there was no. I guess they had to call some plumber or something. I don't remember when it happened at like intermission or something, to my memory. We had to hold like 10 minutes for, to get everything cleaned up, to get everything dried out, and then, shut off so we could start up again. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
All those things are, when you look back and you say, oh, this happened. My friend Norm was just telling me about an earthquake happened when he was on tour, and he was on stage, and there was an earthquake. And wow. I'm like, what? I say, I've never had that. But the most amazing thing is, these are all things that, when we're talking about, that the audience has no idea are happening. They have no idea, because you're sitting in there waiting for the show to start, and they're like, well, they're starting 10 minutes late. And it's like, there's a flood going on. We're trying to just preserve the show.
Everywhere, right.